We want to take more. We understand the responsibility. We would like to. But taking folks out of Syria, for us at least, given our law right now, post 9/11, requires a very specific vetting security process.
Secretary of State John Kerry during a press conference in Germany saying the United States would like to help ease the large numbers of Syrian and Iraqi refugees streaming into Europe, but cannot do so without a thorough vetting process. However, Secretary Kerry did announce that starting next year, the United States will take in 85,000 refugees from Syria and other Mideast nations, and that in 2017, that number will rise to 100,000. For more, let's turn to a couple of my former congressional colleagues. From Newsmax, Washington, the former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, the gentleman from Michigan, Pete Hoekstra. Also at Newsmax, Washington, the gentleman from Illinois, now the president of Flanagan Consulting, Michael Patrick Flanagan. Hey, Pete, Kerry's talking about this vetting process, but then he's talking about huge numbers coming in here. Doesn't seem we vet people on our southern border. Why should we believe him about these refugees in Europe right now?
Oh, I don't think we should believe him. We should be very, very skeptical. The State Department does not have a process. The Homeland Security Department does not have a process, an effective process for vetting the individuals that are going to be coming from Syria, from Iraq, or from wherever in the Middle East. The process does not exist.
Michael Patrick Flanagan, you're a guy who knows Chicago politics. Is there Cook County deception at work here, courtesy of the Obama administration?
Never let a good crisis go to waste. Get 100,000 people in here to anchor, probably 1 million behind them, and families and extended families, all voters for the Democratic cause. Brought about by a problem in the Middle East, largely of our fomenting by not defending Iraq when we promised we would. There's nothing surprising about this, and they'll get it done by hook or by crook.
Michael, there is a very surprising, indeed a shocking story that has appeared in some media outlets. The Pentagon apparently telling U.S. military commanders to look the other way when it comes to the sexual abuse of young boys in Afghanistan by law enforcement and other authorities. Your take on these reports, Michael?
I don't understand it. I don't get it. If they were raping small girls or they were raping women, we would stand in, we'd fight a civil war to stop that. But they're raping small boys, so we just kind of scratch our heads and look away because it's too weird or too strange. This is abuse of the first water. The report I read, one of the Afghan commanders had a kid chained to his bed for use at his will. And these are the people we're defending to help get out of their problems and to bring them into the community of nations. You know, it's clear if Mr. Obama didn't get it before, he should get it now. We are not just another country. We're not just another group of people. We are absolutely superior folks in almost every way because we won't put up with this. And to pretend that we have to so that we can bow to their common views or their common way of behaving is a wrong way to go about this.
Pete, let me turn to you. I understand there's a letter that's been sent to General Dempsey containing accusations that our fighting personnel, our officers and soldiers, are actually being punished for trying to step in and stop some of this abuse.
I think that assessment is probably accurate. I will disagree with my former colleague. If they were raping women and they were raping young girls, that the United States would come in and they would intervene. We are not. We are not intervening in this situation in Afghanistan. We are not intervening in the genocide in Iraq that's being caused by ISIS and ISIL against religious minorities, primarily Christians. We are not stepping in to assist the women who are being brutalized by ISIL. America is standing silent on the sidelines as all these terrible and horrendous activities are going on, and we're not going in and we're not dealing with the refugee crisis and the crisis in Syria and getting at the root cause. We're not even leading from behind. We're just plain old behind.
The final 45 seconds to my friend who served in the first Gulf War and then went back to Iraq in the second Gulf War with the State Department. Mike, your take on what happened on the ground when you were there and the difference we're seeing now in Afghanistan.
Well, I tell you, Peter might be right. We are not paying much attention anywhere. I was thinking back before this administration when we were all exercised over burqas and other things like that and the abuse of women in Afghanistan and how we didn't put up with that then. But apparently under the Obama administration, I think Peter's probably right. We will put up with it here, there, and everywhere. I don't understand this administration. They want to invite little Mohammed to the White House so he can bring his clock so we can have an object example of how everybody else is racist, and yet we continue to allow these abuses the world over and just let it go. I don't get it. I don't understand how they approach these things, and I can't wait for this administration to be over.
Unfortunately, our time together is over. Michael Patrick Flanagan, Peter Hoekstra. Gentlemen, our thanks.